people who are joining virtually, I hope we are audible enough. Today, technology is bit different because uh, we don't have the smart board, but we are trying to give maximum. So we have used the maximum facilities here, and we are trying to give you the maximum outcome. So I hope that you can see my whiteboard and the screen, right? Okay. So what we were discussing about audit procedures for revenue. That's very important. Last week, click the so then, what we did then last week, that's how I am. Then we started. Right. We are discussing about revenue. Revenue. We had a discussion about what are the key features of the revenue balance. So at the initial point we discussed in the auditing standard per se, we have a significant risk related to revenue. So what's the significant risk? What's the significant risk? In auditing standard, clearly says, so the related to revenue balances in an organization, there's a fraud risk. Why? That's a fraud risk. Reason is all the companies trying to enhance the profit. Trying to enhance the profit, right? Because of that, and give us a second. Hello? Malik, may මට markers දෙක තුනක් එවන්න පුළුවන්ද? ඔයාලට ඕනේ නැහැ. කාට හරි කියලා. Right. So you can think about revenue. Revenue is a common balance for each and every company, like cash. A difference, revenue is a per period balance, cash and balance. So then whatever the company you are auditing, revenue balance is there. Revenue is very there is the key cash inflow to the organization. We are creating a kind of an inherent risk, inherent fraud risk to audit. The what's the fraud risk? So the more the companies, majority of the companies trying to increase the profit. So then the profitability is a key performance indicator to them. Whatever the company, they are trying to enhance the profit. So then bonuses and promotions and whatever the what we call that performance criteria depends on the revenue figures. So they always management trying to enhance the profit. So then they can, the mislead the profits. So there's high probability to have a fraud in revenue balance. That's why we have a revenue fraud presumption. So that's a key aspect you need to consider. Audit balances are make it a fraud risk in our play currently. So cash. The revenue balance sheet revenue expenses majority. Then we need to discuss about the conclusion. So then revenue. Other feature is company to company revenue is very different. So some company doing services, some of them are doing manufacturing, and some companies revenue process is very complex, like construction contract. Different revenue sources are there. So then as auditor, as accountant, you would use different accounting aspects. So then we have a common guideline. revenue with customers. SLFRS, what? What's the standard? 15, yes. 13 fair values, 15 revenue with customers. So that is standard. We can't use for each and every company. So in the scope of that standard, we say some of the examples should be scoped out in the current 50. So then insurance, leasing, and some other like financial instrument related company. Those things scoped out. So then we have to use a specific standard for that kind of company. But majority of the company who are doing, their businesses with customers, we have to use SLFRS 15. SLFRS 15 වල අපි මොඩල් එකක් කතා කරනවා කියලා කිව්වා. අපි මොඩල් එක පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ දන්නවනේ. දන්නේ වගේ දන්නෝ කියන්නේ නැහැ එහෙමනේ. එහෙමද? SLFRS 15 වල මොකක්ද මොඩල් එකක් තියෙන්නේ? I කියලා දෙන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. 5-step model කියලා Google එකේ search කරා 5-step model නම් revenue recognize කරගන්න විදිය තමයි කියන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ so then previously we had a standard LKS 18 revenue. This standard discuss about the point of risk and reward transfer. So at this point we need to recognize the revenue. So that is the guideline given with SLFRS 18. After having LKS 18, right? After having SLFRS 15, we have 5-step model. 5-step model is a descriptive version of this. So this is very in general, the risk and rewards, the point of passing the risk and reward. Wow, at the point of passing the risk and reward, you are recognizing the revenue. Right? The risk and reward pass the mechanical. Wow, so that particular item should be transferred to the customer. That's the point we need to recognize. So then, in a service center like that campus, how they are recognized? How they are going to recognize the revenue? So then, we have kind of a doubt, right? So the big point we need to recognize risk and reward. So this kind of a vague, right? So then here it's very descriptive. Here we need to identify the contract. We need to identify the contract, identify the performance obligation, identify the transaction price, and so then split the transaction price throughout the performance obligation. Once you are fulfilling your performance obligation, accordingly you have to recognize the price. That is very descriptive, right? Why? So then we can use easily. So we have a contract with you to give a degree. We are conducting lectures. We have years, right? Yearly you are paid. So then we have a contract. So according to the contract, the liability, performance obligation split within 5 years. So then accordingly, after completing 1 year, we can recognize only 1 year ended. Second year revenue. So according to the fulfillment, so the way you are completing your revenues, the way you are completing your performance obligation, you can recognize the revenue. Right? So that is about SLFRS 15, what it says, right? So then you can discuss, you can you can study about SLFRS 15. I'm not going to have a detailed discussion about SLFRS 15. And I assume that you can go through that and you can have a kind of a basic understanding about this standard. So to do audit about revenue, you should know this standard. As a management in a company, they should have a process to comply with the separability. It's a process, right? Revenue recognition process. Revenue process should be there. We should have proper controls over this. Right. So what do you mean by performance obligation? Performance obligation. Once you are going to a shop or hotel or whatever the service center is company, we have performance obligation. We identify them first. And then we identify the price given to performance obligation. And the third thing, identify the revenue. So the complexity is some of the agreements that get separate performance obligations. Not only one obligation, we have many performance obligations are there in one contract. So what are they? What are the examples? And now give me the examples. Not only one performance obligation, but a series of performance obligations. We should identify separately. Now and එහෙම කියන්නේ. ඔයාට SAP එකේ degree එක මේ ගන්න. SAP එකේ degree එක you can complete by page, let's say 15 lakhs, 1.5 million. So then this is the total cost. This is the transaction price. So then for this, we have obligation. What are the obligations? Conducting lectures, then exams, and then results, and arranging field visit, right? And then convocation. So these are the obligations. So this is a one obligation, you can say. And that is planning to have a kind of hostel. If one student going to accommodate this hostel for 4 years, he has to pay 2 million. Another 500,000 extra he has to pay. So then here you can see here this is another one contract. This accommodation is a separate performance obligation. You have to identify separately. Right? So then for this obligation we have a separate price 500,000. So you need to identify separately for that. So that is the concept behind the performance obligation, right? You need to identify correctly the performance obligation. To do that, you should have a proper idea about the contract. Study the contract, identify the performance obligation, right? So I hope that people joining virtually, we have people, and you can see the board as well, I guess. Okay.
We can hear what you're saying, sir, but the board is not that much clear. We can see, but
Clear. My letters are.
If you can adjust the focus of the camera, sir, then it would be okay, I think.
Okay. This is the maximum, no? Right. I'm not going to focus about the board more, so that you can sing to me. So that's okay. Right. What else we need to discuss? Do you need another example? Let's say you are buying an electric item. You want to buy an electric item. I discussed this with you. So then that item, let's say it's an iron, right? You are going to buy an iron. So then price may be 5,000. 5,000. Right. So then, so the seller explaining that if you want to get a, so this one having 1.5 year guarantee, 1.5 year warranty, right? And if you are going to pay 7,500, you have 2.5 another 1 year guarantee may be given, right? For this warranty, you pay additionally 2,500. So here you can see one contract, two performance obligations. One is the item plus 1.5 year warranty is the one performance obligation. For that we have a separate price. And other one is we are giving additional 1 year for 2,500 rupees. That's another performance obligation, right? That's a separate performance obligation. So then, at the point of transaction, you are pada gane මේක. අනිවාර්යෙන් මේක ගන්න නේ. ලංකාවේ මිනිස්සු මේකම තමයි ගන්න. මොකද මම ගන්නෙත් ඒකම. ඇයි? forever පාවිච්චි කරන්න තමයි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. right. So at the transaction point, what you are going to do? You are paying 7,500. So then the seller, what's the double entry they are going to put? What is the double entry? You are paying cash. Obviously, cash debit. Cash debit 7,500. And other entries? Revenue credit 7,500 for other amount. That's the doubt. Whether we are recognizing 7,500 today or not. We can recognize this way, right? We can recognize 5,000 credit and another 2,500 credit deferred revenue account. Deferred revenue account, right? Is this correct? Is this correct? It's still not correct. Why? We have a separate performance obligation for one. We have separate performance obligation for one. Another obligation for this. For the separate second obligation separated here. But the first one is still not completed the obligation. Why? So that we have given one. So that obligation consists of two elements. What are the two elements? The item plus 1.5 year warranty. So the item was given to the customer. That is done. 90% done. This is the warranty period. Open. So then that may come as a cost. Right? So then if it is relevant for this year, so then we should identify so the 55,000 we have to proportionate according to the fulfillment of the performance obligation. We need to recognize the revenue. From this also, you have to identify a deferred part for the if next year, so the 0.5 going to the next year. So then we have to defer some revenue amount like 7,500, not 7,000, 750. We are deferring for this agreement. Are you okay with this? Here and another here. Because still the performance obligation open. අපි මෙතනම recognize කරගත්තු revenue මොකද වෙන්නේ? then one make a 5,000. And then remember recognize karega. So may out there 5,000 recognize karega. 2022 well. 5,000 recognize karega. And I made out of the river next year in January, customer coming with some open fault in the item. So then you have to replace it, you have to repair it, and then you have to incur cost. So then once you are incurring a cost, you are charging to that period. If you are charging a cost to that period, we don't have revenue for this period. Why? We have already recognized. If it is so, up until you are completing your performance obligation, you have to keep your revenue in a deferred revenue account. Right? That is SLFRS 15. You need to identify the contract, performance obligation. After identification, so the manager should have a proper system to identify the mechanism of giving the service. So then accordingly you should identify the price as the revenue. Right? So that is relevant for whatever the contract. So then if you have a case study, you should have an ability to read that contract and identify the performance obligation and the price. So that adjustment. That may be the role, that may be the accountant role. Once you have been an accountant, so that's your role, not about the passing happening, it will be looked after by the system, right? Automated entries are there. But your role is required to what? So read the contract, identify the performance obligation, develop the system accordingly. Okay. That's really difficult. So then we can come to the next step. What is the next step? How we are going to audit this? First, we need to account this. How are we going to audit this? As auditor, to do auditing, you should have a proper understanding, right? You should be expert on that. So then let's say about 15 entries, how we can identify. So then we have to identify, if we have our returns, we have to identify patterns of the return. As SLFRS 15, we need to make a provision for returns. Why we should do provision for returns? Do we need to do provision for returns? Yes, we should. Why? What's the reason? So then here we have 5 million revenue, right? 5 million revenue. 5 million revenue. So therefore 2022 years. So then 5 million revenue. So the 1.5 million revenue items may be returned in the next year. Next 3 months, they are returned on 1.5 million. If it is so, what we should do? Are you going to deduct this 1.5 million for 2023 as return? That's not good, right? So that we have recognized 5 million for 2022. We have to deduct it from 2022. Are you going to restate revenue? So I'm asking question. We should think about this, right? For 2022, we have 5 million revenue. There's a prediction. So the 1.5 million may be returned. Right? So then, according to SLFRS 50, we have to make a provision for return for 2022. Why? So after returning, you can't attach to 2023 because the revenue is here. You have to attach to that. If you are adjusting 1.5 million for this year revenue, but in the top line, revenue line, we don't have number. Deduct this. We have revenue for 2022, 2023 revenue. Let's say 2023, 20 million. We are going to deduct 1.5 million here. But 1.5 million number, it's not including 20 million, it's including here. If it is so, you have to make a provision over this returns, right? Likewise, we have different adjustment related to syllabus 15. The syllabus 15 midterm exercise. No. It was implemented recently, like 2021. Now, yeah. 2020, 2021 period. I'm not mistaken, we implemented syllabus 15. At that time, we had, serious discussions, topic treatments were changed. So then costing also should consider for whatever the revenue recognition, right? So then, wow, when we done the book. Global that whatever the supermarket or whatever the retail shops, they are having refrigerators, right? Refrigerators, which was given by the these dairy companies and beverages companies, right? Coca-Cola and then Bairaha or Kotmale. So they have given refrigerators to them. Right? Refrigerators to them. And so then to manage that, so then we have a kind of electricity expense for this. Electricity expense. That expense also looked after by the Hub of Coca-Cola or Elephant Hub. Right? While then, කඩේට ගියාම එහෙම හිතුනද නැහැ කඩේ තියෙන බඩු ගන්න කරයිනේ accountant කෙනෙක් විදිහට හිතන්න කොහොමද මේවා මේ ගන්න කියලා නේද මෙයාලා මෙහාලා කියලා ඒතකොට electricity ගන්න මෙයාලාගෙන් නම් යාර මේ නිකන් දීලාද කොහොමද accounting කරන්නවද නේද ඒතකොට that's the sense you have to ගන්න labor කියන්නේ සාමාන්‍ය කෙනෙක් වගේ ගිහිල්ලා කියන්නේ කාට් එකට බඩු දාගෙන සල්ලු කරගෙන එනකට වඩා ඔයා shopping කරන්න ගියාම දැන් audit එකත් plus කොහොමද audit කරන්න කියලා තේරෙන්නේ තමයි ප්‍රයෝග කරන්න accounting කරන්න මොකක්ද දැක්ක ගමන් මම නම් හිතුවේ මේක accounts කරද්දී ඇත්තටම මොකද කියන්නේ ඊට පස්සේ මම අත්තරට පන්දේ ස්කෑනර් එකේ කොතනද මේක දාන්න කරන්නේ ඒක තමයි that's the fashion they have to use as a degree holder in accounting. Otherwise, you can not it's a language, right? We have to speak in that language. We have to use that in very practical sense. It's a very sharp language. After accountant, economic arrangement, decision done. Information generated sources accounting. Costing accounting. Otherwise, we can't survive. Otherwise, we can't depend on decisions. We can't prove the decision. What experience need of behavior decision can go well. For making home the arrangement in they have given a refrigerator. They have given a kind of a monthly electricity charge as well. So then, if you are the auditor or accountant in Elephant House, so that you are recognizing the revenue. You are recognizing the revenue to the top line. Let's say 8 million. You are recognizing your cost of sale. Cost of sale. To your cost of sale, you are having the manufacturing cost. All the costs are there. But this cost, the refrigerator depreciation and whatever the expense incurred for this cost directly relevant to this revenue. So then that should be recognized as a cost of sale, as a kind of a mechanism. Right? This type of things came to the picture because of the SFRS 15. Other thing, ඔය දැකලා තියෙනවනේ එහෙම මාකට් එකක් McDonald's නේ McDonald's පස්සේ KFC Pizza Hut. So they are giving some offers, right? So the Friday night offers, year-end offers, they are promoting. So once they are having that promotion, they are giving like one mac rice with pork, with the lava cake or something like that. So they are giving a pack. Right? They are giving a pack for like let's say 3,500. They are giving a pack for 3,500. Where I take the cut to water make it 3,000 more than 200. That ඊට වඩා වැඩි එකක් තමයි මේ මඩු වෙන්නේ. ඒක දන්නවනේ. ඒක දන්නේ නැද්ද? ඒක දන්න. මම දන්න විදිහට තේරෙන විදිහට කියලා දෙන්න try කරා. ඒක දන්න දැන් ඔයා හිතුවද මේක මඩුවෙන් දෙනකොට account කරන්න කොහොමද කියලා? හරි? අඩුවෙන් දෙනකොට මේක ඇතුලේ performance obligation ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. එකක් විතරක් නෙවෙයි. දැන් ඔයා ගිහිල්ලා mac price එකක් ගන්නවා mac එකේ. So then 1,500 mac price. Right? So the one performance obligation, what's the very small performance obligation? Paying cash and giving the rice to the customer. That's it. Performance obligation done. Risk and reward pass. Simple. So the one price you can recognize straight away cash debit credit to PNL. Right? So we have the determined price. Here price was determined to a bulk. So here we have three performance obligations. What are the three performance obligations? We have to give a Coke, we have to give a mac rice, we have to give a lava cake. So then we have to satisfy three contracts. So then here we have three performance obligations, one price. So then we have to recognize, we have to split this price for each and every item. Each and every item we have to recognize and separately identify. So you should have a number, Coke revenue. What are you going to do? මෙහෙම separate කරන්න ඕනේ නෑනේ. revenue number එකේ මේකේ chance එක තියෙන්නේ එක වෙලාවෙම performance obligation තුනම fulfill වෙනවා. එතකොට 3,500 we are giving the back, we are getting cash. All three contracts performance obligation fulfilled, we can recognize the bulk revenue. But you should, separate this revenue for each and every section. The rice and lava cake and then beverage, right? So that's about $7.50. To do that, you should have a proper process in the organization. Process means the people should know the standard and management should design, implement and operate controls over the process. So that is about controls relating to revenue. So normally we are promoting to do POC for revenue. Otherwise, it's really difficult to justify. Because during a period, we are having many transactions. Because of that, definitely we have to focus about POC. Otherwise, can you do substantive procedure for revenue? Imagine, difficult. So for the year, we may have the number of invoices, we may have 2 million. Number of transactions. What a transaction we have to check the retail. So you should comfortable with what available design of control, implementation and operation. All the areas should be comfortable, right? Okay. So that's the basic background of revenue. Other than that, any questions? 15 value question number one. हर दिन प्रश्न नहीं कहा ना पेपर रेवेन्यू अब दाम एक ऐसा पटांगा करना बहुत तो in the main question, so the compulsory question, definitely there's a sentence, right? So then the management performance will be based on the management performance will be evaluated based on the revenue criteria, revenue KPI. So that will be rewarded end of the period, right? It means if there's a company like the performance bonuses, promotions will be linked with the company performance. Bonuses and promotion, everything, KPIs depends on the company performance. If it is so, it's indicating a fraud risk. Why? To do a fraud, we should have three things. We have already discussed. What are three things? There should be opportunity, there should be a pressure, there should be a rationalization, right? So then, if there's a culture like the bonuses will be depend on the KPI related to not the quality KPI. Quality standard, not the KPI. So the standard delay times. So those are not the KPI. KPI will be the high profitability. So management always try to enhance profitability. They are trying to create bogus transaction. So then if they are struggling with some period, they are going to do. They may do some things to not do the cost saving, not enhancing the number of transactions, but they make kind of a bogus transaction, right? So that is the fraud risk we should identify. So if there's a question like that, we have to explain this company performance structure developed based on the revenue targets. If it is so, it's creating what? Creating a fraud risk. So then we should address fraud risk. And when we come to fraud risk again. So risk identify කරලා තියෙනවනේ. කොහොමද risk identify කරලා තියෙන්නේ? දැන් අද අහන්නේ මැට්‍රික් ගන්න ගිහින් මගේ. දැන් මේ අපි ඔඩිට් කරගෙන යන්නේ කොහේ තියෙන කල්චර්. අපි මේ ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් ස්ටේට්මන්ට් ඔඩිට් කරන ගමන් ඉන්නේ. Financial statement audit කරන ගමන් we have a statement for income statement, right? Income statement, we have a main balance revenue. Here we have a balance. This balance should be audited by auditor. So now we are going to audit. So the same process, what we did, we identify this as significant account, identify spots, did the walkthrough, and identify inherent risk plus control risk. That is the combined risk. Right? This was done for all balance of accessions. Accession makers. So then we have to split this to many accessions. What are the? We have income statement accession, balance sheet accession, right? So we have occurrence, and we have completeness, right, and obligation, and then we have measurement, cutoff, right? So each and every assessment we are doing this, and this assessment was already done. Again, I am telling you, what? Plus we have a fraud risk. That's the point. Normally assess CR is there. Again, plus we have a fraud risk related to this balance. So then the audit response should address both internal risk, control risk, plus the fraud risk related to that. Right? That I want to emphasize. So then, as auditor, we have to focus about revenue. revenue process, revenue controllers, and then whatever the substandard procedures. Right. What are the TOC? Basically, related to revenue, there should be a system in the company. If it is a hotel is a total revenue type say. You can be started and allowed. So what's the process we are using? So that if there's a guest like is coming around 25th of December, it may stay like 10 days, 5 days for 1 year, 5 days. So then you have to recognize daily revenue, right? You have to recognize daily revenue. That is called, hotel night audit. Night audit කියලා හරියද? Hotel එකේ night audit එක කියලා හරියද? Hotel accounting concept of night audit. In a hotel, they have to run the night audit. At the night, they have to recognize the day revenue to the company. Right. So then, for this, they can use a system or they can use manual process. In a hotel, definitely they are having operating system, booking system, check-out system, right? They are having receipt issuing system. So the accountant can audit that, can't. Why? That system, hotel system should deal with the accounting package. Accounting package. This revenue should be recorded here. So then you are getting the trial balance from here. So then you have to audit here, this one. So then, if you have a company, you have an ERP system. It means your operating system, there's no two separate systems. Your operating system, HR system, marketing, everything in one system. It's called ERP system. So then you can generate the trial balance from here. So then the manual information may be very less. So the accuracy may be in a top level if you have an ERP system. Why? You don't have manual information, you don't have manual night audit or manual reconciliation, you don't have. So you are having a kind of a clear process. Whatever the input you put into the system in the front end, you can get in the back end. You are very comfortable about the numbers. So it's a kind of a comfort, it's kind of a design effectiveness of the company. The entity level controls more effective. So then you can do freely this TOC. You can easily do substantive procedures there because you are relying on control. Right? Your system should identify related parties. Again. Your hotel system should be identify related parties. And related parties be වාසිකයන් the hotel. Huh? Related parties වාසිකයන් related party කියලා කියන්නේ කවුද ගන්නවද? Outlet කියලා දෙනා කියන එකට family members කියන එකට we have separate standards, no? Case 24. So we have a separate accounting standard, related party. What the related party? Maybe director or directors close family members. So the we may have set of related parties, right? Set of related parties should be there. So then those related parties should be embedded to this system. Why? Why is that? So then definitely they are come up with more discounts, right? So then if director's son or daughter, if they are going for a hotel in their hotel chain, definitely they are asking discounts, right? If it is so, the hotel system should be identify this a related party. End of the day, for the year, they have to have a kind of a revenue related to related parties. They have to identify separately, right? So for that, what we have to do with the system, we have to embed the phone number, not phone numbers, ID card numbers. So then we have kind of application controls related to related parties. I hope that is clear. So that is about revenue balance, right? Then we can move to whatever the procedure is. And this revenue balance always linked with the receivable balance, debit sales and credit sales and cash sales. You may have cash sales and credit sales. Cash sales means you are selling, you are getting cash. Credit sales for the creditors you are selling. So 1 entry credit revenue, the debit entry may be cash or receivable. So there is approval for credit and debit sales. You can check approvals, right? And dual control for sales and cash collection. So normal company, whatever the company, for cash and revenue, there should be a separation. That control should be there. If that was still the okay, that will be the normal card. You can walk a QR code in the card. එහෙම නෑ නේද? එහෙමද නැද්ද? ඒ කියන්නේ කොහොමද? After you are going to the shop, they are giving the item, they are getting the cash, right? සමහර නගරවල තියෙනවානේ එහෙම නෑනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ once you are going to the counter, we have to pay cash to the someone else, and you are getting the order from someone else. Like a pharmacy or whatever the hotels. Some hotels are there. So then we can get the order from someone else. Cash may be settled to someone else. So the dual control should be there. Otherwise, that control should be there. Why? So then they can't hide transactions. So then if they want to get money, they can sell outside and get the cash and they can put it to the pocket. So then, if we have separated that, cash can be collected by another person. If it is so, there's no point to give more items. So that's the control we are putting. The cash sales and the cash collection should be separated, right? So then GL posting approval, that should be checked. Seekers order of invoice numbers and sales cutoff. Check the controls related to sales returns. That's also very important. Controls for revenue cutoff. What it means to you? Revenue cutoff. Revenue cutoff means revenue cutoff. So we have already discussed about cutoff, cash cutoff, and the inventory cutoff, receivable cutoff. Here's the same concept. We can't identify, we can't, recognize premature revenue. So the whatever the earned revenue should be recognized in the particular period. So then the performance obligation should be completed for that period to recognize the revenue, right? Then what we have to do for revenue cutoff? We have to get the whatever the invoice numbers and check whether you have delivered that order or not. And SAP audit taking ඇවිල්ලා කියනවා. So then ඔයාලගේ බැට් එකේ අවුරුද්දටම කියන්නේ අවුරුදු ඩිග්‍රී එකටම ගෙවපු revenue එක recognize කරලා කියන. So the cash cut off එක sorry revenue cut off එක ඔක්කොද? Incorrect, right? So then you have to cross check with the performance obligation and the cash. So that is about revenue cut off. It differs with the cash cut off, right? Cash cut off, whatever the cash received for that period should be recognized to that period. Right? Here it differs. Keep in mind. So then there may be a question in the exam paper. So then your junior asking the approach to do revenue cut off. What are the specific advices you are going to give? So then you should have a basic understanding about this and think about that and give some advices. So those are the controls. And after completing this control testing, you can get the comfort about the control, combined risk assessment. And then you can move to the substantive procedures. How we are going to move to substantive procedures? After doing POC, you have to adjust that combine this the result to the CRA. Revisit the CRA and get the scope from that, and by using that scope to the substantive procedures. දැන් මේ කතාව මම මේ කියන්නේ ස්පර්ශකරි පාරට විතරනේ. ඒක අමුතුවෙන් අහගෙන ඉන්න එපා. මොකද හැම බැලන්ස් එකකම මේක තමයි කිව්වේ. POC කරනවා නම් if you are doing POC, whatever the results you are getting POC, like POC means operating effectiveness of the control. So the operating effectiveness of the control should be embedded to the combined risk assessment as a adjustment, right? So whatever the risk you identify, operating effectiveness of the control should be embedded to the CRA, and by using that CRA, you have to use the scope. So then we are moving to this substantive procedures. So what are the substantive procedures? What are the substantive procedures? You can perform analytical review procedures, and you can check sample of invoices, and then you can do cutoff testing, and you can do disclosure test. And this is an estimate. As I said, for returns you have to make a provision. That is the requirement. So then how you can justify your return provision? You can check the last year pattern, return pattern you can check, and based on that pattern you can justify the available provision in the books. So then you need to check the last year return pattern, and then you can justify the available number in the books, right? This one, and check sample of return sales, so that you can get the returns, and you can cross check with the actual return source documents, right? Perform analytical review procedures. It's a kind of a general procedure, no? So what are the analytical procedures you can do for revenue? Analytical procedures that we can do for revenue. Different revenue, different analytical procedures. We can't say that for this company we have to do this and that. The procedure may be very different. If it is a hospital, so then we have a different revenue stream. So the like RCD or surgical law, Apollo, whatever the hospital, the performance obligations are one contract, different performance obligations. What are those? we have, we have accommodations, separate cost. And then for operations, separate cost. And medicine, separate cost. If you are getting meals, separate cost. So different performance application. So then we have to recognize them differently. So then, what you are doing, your data analytics, you have to get the PO data. So how many number of operations you have done in this period? So what's the standard price for this kind of operation? You can do kind of data analytics. You can check the feasibility. And then it should be ensured that what? To do the data analytics, your numbers should be correct. To do the DA testing, data analytics or analytical reviews, your information should be very accurate. Otherwise, once you are doing DA testing, no, that's why. Once you are multiplying your price versus number of operations. So the number of operations should be correct. Price also should be correct. If the accounting people can add different number of, so the actual number of operation maybe differs with the number of operation in the system. If it is so, your calculation may be failed. Right? So then number of operation generated from the system can't be manipulated by anyone, can't be changed by anyone. So that there can't be a management override of control to change this number. So after ensuring that from TOC, you have comfort about this number of operation. So then you are getting the price. So the number of operation correct because TOC effective. And then multiply price, you have a number, directly you can proceed with the revenue. So then you have that comfort. What if it is not a bilateral ECA? Hurry. Not to make a valuable I can confirm that the equipment is correct. That is a confirm you have to confirm as auditor. Otherwise, so that this is the procedure given in the lecture note and this was discussed. As it is, I have to write it. That is not the case. As you have to think as auditor. How should I do procedures to ensure this balance? Are you comfortable enough with the balance? With the then senior getting part of section the captain under Audit is not as per the client explanation. That is not viable, right? So you have to document how you are thinking about that. What the audit rationale? What can clients make become like in my recently already. Again, complexity expense I don't know because it's Audit can move on. Study for a pass the thing. That is not the reason method. Last month was a Vesak month. We had some lanterns and we used many number of bulbs. Because of that, it's increase. Very general. So then you have to see very rational. Then once you are doing your exam also, you have to be very rational. Don't give very generic, very general. Don't give answers. You have to be very specific, right? I'm sorry, giving one answers, right? So then, very straightforward, and you can add to here JE testing. For this, as a substantive procedure or kind of a common procedure, revenue related JE testing should be performed. There is a specific procedure to address the progress. So under that, what we are going to do? We are extracting all the data entries related to revenue and we do some testing. Who is the person part of revenue? අපි මොකද කරන්නේ පුරා revenue entries ටික අරගෙන. අපි කරනවා weekend analysis එක. The weekend analysis එක. So in the general ledger, after getting all the general ledger accounts, after that ගන්න පුළුවන් weekend එකේ partial revenue entries පුළුවන්. ඒකට weekend එකේ කඩේ වහලා නම් තියෙන්නේ. ඒක පාස් වෙන්න බෑනේ. ඒක මොකද? දැන් පොයේ දවස්වල entries ටික ගන්න. පොයේ දවස්වල entries පාස් වෙලා නම් there's something wrong, right? So then our work time is like 8:30 to 9 p.m. So after 9 p.m. if we have some revenue entries, we can capture those things and we do sample testing. That is about daily testing, right? So then we can catch all the frauds if they have recognized premature revenue like that. So after doing this day analysis and kind of a weekend analysis, forward analysis, definitely all the transaction can be, all the bogus transaction, revenue transaction can be captured. It's not the parameters. Then normal auditing විනාශ කරනවා කියන්නේ නැද්ද? කලින් තමයි sample 50 sample target. Then sample based audit මොකක්ද කරන්නේ? Portfolio based audit කරන්නේ. The portfolio එක බලන්න නැහැ. ඒකද sample එකේ portfolio එක නරගෙන ටිකක් බලලා sample එක negative. Now what I am doing? We analyze the portfolio. We are getting total portfolio and analyze and we identify what are the unique, very unusual items, unusual concept. Payments having only one approval, more than 1 million payments. Payments happen during the weekend. All those can be captured, and we do sample testing based on that. So then all other are normal transaction. We have checked the exceptional item. So then one more. So then audit also how many advanced. People can not play around that now. Anyway, so then they can find loopholes, but auditing also has improved with the technology, right? So we have moved from sample-based auditing to portfolio-based auditing. That's a kind of a drastic development in auditing field, right? Through data analytics and data testing. So keep in mind these words, right? Data analytics and data testing. You can perform under revenue. Then what revenue question එක කාපු ගමන් අතේ ලියාගෙන නේද ඔක ලියන්න පුළුවන්. So then to address the fraud risk, you can suggest to do data testing. ඕකම ලියන්න පුළුවන් කොහොම ආවත් ප්‍රශ්නේ නේද? So then if there's a revenue related, if I'm asking, so what are the possible responses as auditor for revenue balance? We have to say it. So the revenue obviously is related to fraud risk. And as auditor, he has to design and perform JE testing or data analytics relating to this number. So then you can further elaborate revenue related to related parties, day-end entries, prepare a map analysis. You can do some JE testing like that. You can get you example as well, right? So that is about revenue. We discussed about the standards, examples, and basic knowledge about the standard and the fraud risk and DOC and some standard procedures. Any doubts? Make Anima clear understand. So then, keep in mind this game. One of my questions here. So I discussed this as a kind of common topic. So the question may be ask kind of a specific case study and then use this terminology, use this knowledge to case study and find the kind of answer. Make a money come here. So it should be related to the case study. So that's the requirement from you. So that's how I'm going to test that whether you have learned it or not. Right? I hope you have proper knowledge about revenue because it's important. Anywhere you are going, revenue figures is there in different modes. It may be service, manufacturing, construction contract, leasing, power generating. You can decide, right? So some companies, as I said, we have a fraud risk, right? Fraud risk is there. This is a presumption. What do you call that presumption? Auditing standard clearly says under revenue we have a fraud risk. That is the assumption, develop the assumption. We can say presumption, right? So as auditor, we have to respond to this. We have to do audit procedures over this. If we are not focusing this as a fraud risk, we are not considering this as a fraud risk, you have to separately document. You have to separately document why you are not considering this as a fraud risk. You have to consider. If I am asking a question like that, what are the instructions you are giving to your senior about revenue audit procedures? So then first you have to say that this revenue is linked with the fraud risk. So then all audit procedures should be address the fraud risk. If you are in a company, your revenue process is non-complex. Non-complex. මොන වගේද? මම කිව්වනේ මොන වගේ කම්පැනි එකක්? ඔයාට තියෙන්නේ real estate එකක්. ඔයාට තියෙන්නේ building එකක්. So then you have a building in that company. You have 3 floors, and for 3 floors we have 3 customers, 3 agreements, right? So then 12 rent income, 3 agreements. You can read the agreement, very straightforward, right? There's no such complexity. There's no number of transactions because 12 into 3, 36 rent income should be recognized as a revenue. Very straightforward, non-complex. There's no problem. You can justify. So then, as auditor, there's a responsibility. There's a standard requirement. Auditing standard clearly says, as auditor, if you are dealing with a non-complex revenue range audit, you have to document it clearly. The basis for not considering revenue as a fraud risk. Keep in mind that. If it is a power generating company, විදුලි ලංකාවක් power generate කරලා national grid එකට power එක දෙනවා. So then end of the month, what they are getting is they are getting a bill from CEB. So then they have 12 months CEB, what do you call that, invoice. So then very straightforward. 12 invoices, you can check that CEB is a party, the third party invoice. Very straightforward. We can't do a fraud. අපිට CEB එකකින් fraud එකක් වෙනවා නම් CEB එකක් set කරගෙන තමයි fraud එකක් කරන්නේ. ඒකම වෙන්න පුළුවන් ලංකාවේ. ඒක විතර එකක් බලන්න වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. හරිද? දැන් වෙන රටවල ගිහින් audit කරනකොට හරි දැන් අපි audit කරන විදිය මේකේ ටැග් කරනවා. එහෙම audit කරන්න ඕනේ පව් එහෙම කරන්න එපා කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. ඊපස්සේ audit කරනකොට හිතන කිව්වා. කියලා ඇයි යන්නේ එහෙම ඔඩිට් කරන්නේ එහෙමත් බලන්න පුළුවන් නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි මෙහි හොර කට්ටියත් එක්ක ඉඳලා ඔඩිට් කරලා කරුවා. ඒ මිනිස්සු එහෙම හිතන්නේවත් නැහැ. එතකොට that's really here the auditing is more complex. If you are auditor in Sri Lanka, that's the most experience you are getting and you can do miracles in other countries. Because you have gone through very complex process. Every day you are dealing with that. You have to decide procedures. You are very rationalistic. You can catch frauds suddenly, right? So then that is there. Right. That's it about revenue. You know the revenue standard, virtual model, and DOC, substantive procedures, cut-off testing, and fraud risk responses. I discussed the agency as well. Then first name karan try karan. Stand with the first name. Then I will send that model answers to you, a question paper. You can go through that. I don't need, so I'm not giving, it is not singular literature or English literature paper, right? So I'm not focusing about the number of pages you have written. So the half of the page 5 marks. So the sum of the 3 pages 0 mark. 3 pages 0 mark. Why? They have not given the answer. There's a communication issue. So then you can give the clear answer within 2-3 sentences. That's it, right? Focus about that. Right. We have completed a large topic, revenue. So we are moving to purchases and expenses. So that is very easy. So that you can do POC, right? I have not given procedures here. Why? That POC will be covered through different processes: cash receipt, payment, debtor, creditor, right? And then substantive procedures. So what are substantive procedures? You can select vouchers and you can select, you can ask questions from the management and then you can inquire, and further you can do kind of a physical visit, and you can cross-check with the board minutes whether they have taken that decision or not, right? So then some companies they are having not the board meeting, management meeting minutes, subcommittee meeting minutes, right? So then you can go through this meeting minutes. So then you can refer that whatever the related expenses, right? And this is important. We can accruals, prepayments should be identified. Accruals should be done. So that you can't recognize expenses based on the cash basis. We have to recognize expenses based on what? Accrual basis. You have to accrue expenses, right? So that you can do some analytics as well. For expenses, you can do ARP, analytical review procedures. So for electricity expense, for telephone expense, and water expense, if you are a manufacturing company, your electricity expense and the production having a positive correlation. But don't get the admin related electricity expense, right? You have to remove that admin related things and you have to identify what's the electricity expense related with the production. And then you can do proper analytical review. And you have to adjust that the tariff rate increase, the changes as well. Why? What I mean. So then electricity, if you are buying 50, different rate. If you are passing 50, different rate. If you are passing 100 watt, different rate. Right? So then if you are doing kind of analysis, you have to consider this as well. So number of units and number of units plus production plus tariff rates. Tariff rates in the sense that rates used by the, not tariff rates, whatever the rates and the charges related to kilowatt. Right? So then if you are drawing a chart like production and electricity expense, so you should know this equation should be there. To complete one item, you need 1 kilowatt, right? 1 kilowatt. So if you have 100 items, you know that you should have 100 kilowatt. You can't get this 100 kilowatt for same price. Let's say 10, you can't get this for 10. First 50 kilowatts per 10. Another 20, 15. Another 20, 20. Another 5, 25. So then you need to consider this for the data analytics. The ARP and review procedures. So once you are developing a concept, once you are developing a kind of a algorithm or objective to analysis, that should be very meaningful. Because if you are doing analysis, you should have kind of an objective. And this is an objective of the other. Or research කරන්න කියනවනේ. මේකේ research කරන්න. Research කරන්න කියනකොට research topic එක select කරගන්න එක අමාරුයි. ඒක ඔයාලට idea එකක් research topic එකේ conclusion එකක් තියෙන දෙයක් නම් තෝරගන්න එක වැරදි. So that is not a research. That is a kind of a reconfirmation about some incident or some event. But once you are doing your data analytics or whatever the analytical review procedures, you should have kind of presumption, objective. Or there may production mechanic, you are doing analytics for production and the electricity. So what is the objective you have? What is the objective? What is the expectation? Expectation is electricity expenses go in line with the production. That is the assumption you are going to check. If you can confirm that assumption, you are okay. So then firstly, before you are doing analytics, you have to have a presumption. Whatever the analysis you are doing, you should have, then only you can do the deviation. Otherwise, you can't compare. Whatever the analysis you are doing, why expect karana gana? Why expect karana 50? But the analytic result 75. Get the answer for this. If the answer is correct, balance is 65. So whatever the analysis you are going to do should have a expectation. If that analytic results match with the expectation, you are having a proper conclusion. Right? So then whatever the analysis you are recommending for audit procedures, you should have a basic assumption, basic objective, right? So then we may have different expenses like electricity, telephone, different expenses. From that, I am getting some key expenses. What is the key expense in organization? Salaries, sectors. I want to discuss about that as well. Topic may be salaries. Yes. The salary expense is a key expense in organization. Is it? Yes. It's the key expense. Right. So that we have to pay for our customers, employees. So that we are having different remunerations. Not salary, allowances, and whatever the bonuses, gratuity, and director remunerations. But what's the risk related to this? Expense like a guaranteed payment is you want something on the payments, right? I mean, you can answer. But the directors, I did put the information in the later. But I'm going to say, that's all right. Make a mistake up there, salaries, right? The people who are designing salaries are the people who are involved into the process. They can manipulate by using different, small way, right? Incentives over time. Our stick product, වැඩි කරන්න විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. අවස් 10ක් විතර හැමදාම දාන්න වැඩි කරන. 10ක් දැම්ම වැටෙන්නේ නේ. So then you are getting more incentive. Simple. So likewise, this is an area you have to focus as auditor because then the delegation of authority, we can't see most of the cases, right? If you have proper control over that, it's really good because the production and the HR team and the finance team should be separate department. If it is so, we have a proper function over this. Why? So the finance department always looking at the same people looking at the production, same people looking at the HR. If it is so, they are the people finalizing the cash payment as well. So then we don't have 2-3 different heads. CFO always doing the HR, the payroll, right? Production, the payments always processed by the CFO. If it is so, there is a high risk. CFO ට පුළුවන් නැති employees ල create කරලා salary එකක් ගන්න යනවා account එකට. එහෙම කරන්න කියලා. එහෙම audit වල අහු වෙලා තියෙනවා. දන්නේ නැති employees ඉන්නවා company එකේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අහලත් නැති, ඇවිල්ලත් නැති employees ල ඉන්න salary තියනවා. So then there should be a proper control over this. Keep in mind. And then we can basically we can check the controls over this. Control environment should be tested because it's annually. There are many transactions during a period. So my suggestion is better to do POC and identify the controls and test the effectiveness of the controls. And you can easily do the substantive procedure. So then what are the controls they will do? Here then I have not giving the POC. Each and every cases I have given. What are the possible POCs and substantive procedure? From here we are not giving, right? What is procedures? POC plus substantive procedures. What may be the POC? POC may be very different to salaries, to EPA, PTM, incentives, to company may be very different, right? Whether they are keeping employee numbers or salary will be processed by the HR team and payroll will be finalized by HR team and HR head should be approved, right? So then that payment should be processed by the CFO. So then all the salary registers should be updated by using the resignations, recruitments plus promotions. ඒ තුනෙන් තමයි salary අඩු වැඩි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නේද? මේ මාසේ salary එකයි ඊළඟ මාසේ salary එකයි reconcile කරන්න company. There should be a salary reconciliation. What is that? Salary reconciliation in between 2 months. So what's the reconciling items? Last month salary May month වෙනස් වෙනවා නම් මොකද වෙන්නේ? There may be resignations, there may be recruitments or promotion, salary increasement, derate කරලා, depromote කරලා, salary අඩු කරලා තියෙනවා නම් in specific scenario, right? Consider that as well. So those are the reasons, right? So the salary reconciliation is a good control, right? Keep in mind. That may be an exam question. So I'm asking what is procedures for salaries? Definitely, salary reconciliation should be there. And then as a control process, salary HR summary, salary preparation should be tallied with the finance team. Right. Then we have non-current liabilities and After this, balance is done. And we have already discussed about the liabilities, right? Accruals, payables, non-current liabilities. So we need to do much. So I'm not interested to do TOC for this. Why? Non-current liabilities nobody considers it. What's the content? Non-current liabilities. One of the examples. Can balance in the අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? මොකද හිතේ? අපි TOC බලලා තත්ත්වයන් කරලා තත්ත්වයන් කරලා මොකද? අපිට තියෙන්නේ borrowings මොනේ හතරයි කරන්නේ. ඔබේ TOC කරගන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. මොකද අපිට borrowing තුනයි නම් තියෙන්නේ. There are 3 borrowing agreements. What we can do is we have that agreement, the interest rate, so there's fixed rate or floating rate, and then this component. You can have like a capitalization schedule, and accordingly you can check the cash flow. So that you can check 100% this. So if you can check 100%, why do you need to do negotiation? We can suggest to do full substantial approach to this balance. As a reason, we can do 100% testing. After 100% take care and validate the control, comfort, and unlimited revenue again. Salaries again. We have to get the confirm from the transport and we can comfort testing. Otherwise, we have to validate the 24 individuals. We have to do comfort testing. If we can do that, still we can't get the control. That is the difficult. But here, we encourage to do full substantial approach for non-current liabilities. If those non-current liabilities should be very countable now. So if we make this, easily we can count. We can take the evidence and we can take subsequent settlements, subsequent payment, and schedule agreement, and further we can get the confirmation. And be careful once you are doing your classification in the balance sheet, you have to do current and non-current also. We did 1 year pay current year, we have to recognize as current and non-current liabilities. If I am asking only procedures for this, so these are the things we have to write and make it legal. Put mother and payment to mother balance. So what's the accounting treatment? What are the things we have to put the procedure? So then for long-term liabilities, what are the procedures to get something? Take the agreement. All the information from the land, subsequent settlement. Independently calculate the schedule and take the payment. Take the payment. That's it. For the area, the side take it to the think about the balance service of the procedure. That is the level we want to get you in. That's the make a procedure, share of mother. How to buy the procedures we have mother, anything handed to the get to the have a integrated count for the other make it. Specific, they will not pay. Confirmation holding the other would appear. So we can use that for receivables. We can use that for creditors. We can use that for non-current liabilities. Confirmation holding. Subsequent settlement also can be used for receivable as well as the payables. Cash balance is the subsequent settlement. Subsequent reconciling item, subsequent reconcilement. Right? If you find those things, so Exam is a kind of a strategical thing, right? So whatever the learning aspects, strategically put into your paper. That's a kind of a presentation. People who are learning hard, they can't attend to it. People who are, uh, having thorough knowledge, they also can't attend to paper. Paper writing is a kind of a, the strategical approach. How you are going to present something to a outside. So that's why we are having exams, right? So whatever thing you are going to do in the exam will be repeated in your day-to-day life in your future. Right? Exam එකේ ප්‍රශ්න ටිකේ එක වෙලාවෙ පැයක් ගන්න. පැය තුනක් ගන්න. හැබැයි normal life එකේ daily. So daily paper එක නිකන් parrot පිටින් වගේ කරනවා. daily එක දිනු කරගන්න බෑ හැමදාම job එකට වෙන තමයි ඉන්නේ. ඒකත් සාහරි practical exam එක. So that's my advice. So that you have to do the, you have to get the maximum understanding very practical. Don't depend on the slide deck. And about the person who are the people done. Money or maybe Lamai, I think Kampo Lamai will be taught. So then, whatever the things are telling, or whatever the interview they are, whatever the interview they are conducting, always they are right. Always they are right. So at that point, they are not asking any questions. No clarification, just to get the notes. And if I'm asking a question next day, they don't know what it is. No point, right? So then try to keep that in your mind in very practical form. So that will be very helpful. Right? Practical method, not lazy. Whether I can be lazy. In a language, you do this. Pennanකොට මේ ස්පීච් යනකොට තේරෙනවා මේක තමයි මේ කියන්නේ. That is very easy to understand. Right? You can get the real outcome of the language, outcome of the subject. If you are, the kind of a approach, if you are using like A level, O level, you can read these things and you can remember all those procedures. And for this, if I'm asking the non-current the audit procedure for non-current liabilities, because the slide text says TOC and substantive procedures, you just write TOC plus substantive procedures. That's it. That's it for the paper, no? So then, that is about procedures, audit evidence gathering process for account balances. So all those things done. We had series of lectures, right? Payables, receivables, information. Right. So then we have some other disclosures, right? Subsequent event, going concern, accounting estimate. So we have some other disclosures. Why? Once you are doing audit, you are checking. You are checking 3 elements, right? You are checking 3 elements. What are 3 elements? Transactions, account balances, and disclosures. Account balances and disclosures you can see in the financial statement. But transaction you can't see. Transaction was audited by using walkthrough and POC. Right? So the account balances we have already completed by using substantive procedures. We need to discuss some more disclosures like contingent liability, related party, event after reporting. Likewise, whatever the disclosures, what are the procedures you have to perform? That should be discussed. Right? And then today I'm discussing what? Audit reporting. That's very important. So after doing each, so now already audit process almost done. How many percentage? 75% done. We have remaining part 25. What is that? So all the procedures completed. We had a good plan completed. Now we have to conclude. We are supposed to issue the audit report. That will be discussed after the break. Break are all the whole day. You go to a break, I will be. I don't want to break. Characters की वजह ये चिन्ह के वजह दिक्कत है. We have to work, right? Work practical. Cultural material ना ले. Papers पालन किया. The house is the house is but the deals of work. Working. So the Latin part was Srilanka. Working. Work hard. If we can work hard, we can work hard, we can change everything. एक तरह का कहना है ये चीज कितना कर रहा है पहले तरह से इसके है तरह से कितना टायर अगर आप पहले तरह से get outcome for the sake of having entertainment. Need to earn, need to work for earning 15 hours, not 8 hours. Then we have to cover the areas and then we can change it smooth. At least degree holders of this targeting about what? Which means a couple work. And the economic facing the data becoming and society can't be there. Then, on that economic, so we are learning hard. Yeah, learning new things and everything. So, we can't be target. So learning, we have to use it in the maximum way. I think we have the objective. Right. Take a break and then start with the recording. So we want to get that presentations, no? Then I decided to get presentation virtually because we have virtual crowd as well as physical crowd. Then it's better to have a virtual presentation. I will tell you that the protocols and the ground rules for presentation. And as I said, I don't want things like this. Just open the report and do the presentation. I don't want to see that kind of a reading the presentation. Reading the report is not a presentation. It should be a very attractive discussion. Like the simple language. The written language can't be used for for presentation. If you are using like according to that one, so that is kind of written language, right? So then you have to use very simple. Simply you have to explain whatever the things you did, risk assessment and other planning activities. It will be a very useful for your exam, right? exam always targeting about planning and risk assessment plus audit procedures. Not a, only small part will be tested under reporting. So I'm asking only for 10 marks reporting part. How we can give the opinion. Opinion is not a matter. Matter is how we have planned for it, what we have done. We have already done that. We have planned, we have done all procedures, right? It is 90%. And now you can earn 90%. If we are completing reporting, 100%. Right?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes. Go ahead.
So is there any link available to upload this report, sir?
I don't think so. That it is expired now, right?
Yeah, but there's no link to upload the report, sir, in the LMS.
Yes, I created the link now. There's no link. I have created. Wait, I will see that. Wait. Okay, after creating the link, I have to, activate the display option. I don't know whether I have done it or not. Will check and let me. Give me some.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Correct. I have not activated the link, but I will do it. I think you have already done with the presentation, the report. So then I'll share that link with you all. So then you can upload that to the link.
Okay,
Right?
sir.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir. Did you activate the link, sir?
No. Give me a second. You can
Ah,
see.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
I think now you can see the link. Can you check that, please?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Now it's visible. Okay. Thank you, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
When you are planning to take the presentation, sir, is it next week?
Next week.
Or like any planned date?
What is the date? Just given. Deadline. When changes. The deadline was 10th November, right?
Yeah, initially it was 10th November, sir.
So then yesterday,
Yeah.
then I have given another 1.5 days. So then deadline extended to tomorrow. That's okay, right?
Yeah, sir, that's okay. Thank you.
Oh, is that not good?
No, that's okay, sir. Thank you for the explanation.
Then you can freely upload to this. If you have any concern like uploading or if you have not done it, talk to me. So with a valid reason, having very general reason, the people are in the group not working. So that is not the exact reason. So the people are not working. That's normal. We should have ability to get things done from people. That's the ability. That's the focus about group works. So then come up with a valid reason or whatever the difficulty, practical difficulties. So then I am flexible to consider that. So I hope that you all can upload the report without any excuses. As a profession, I don't like to hear excuses. I hope your positive feedback.
Excuse me, sir. So, next week also, do we having classes or this is the last day, sir?
Next week we have, right?
Okay, so then that means, shall we arrange our team to? I mean, next week will be the presentation, right? Sir?
Next week may not be. Before that, we'll arrange that presentation or next like Sunday. So according to your availability, we'll schedule a kind of a virtual session and take your presentation. Saturday or Sunday, I will let you inform according to your availability. So that if your team available on that time, let's say early the evening or daytime, so according to your availability, let's cross-check with my availability and we'll have the presentation. So then let's complete this within next week, we'll complete it. So after uploading a report, I will go through that. And I will let you know what is the timetable I can do. So then if you are available, we'll do that manner. Or how many groups you are having? Like 10 groups? 6 groups, right?
Uh, not six. I think around 8 or 9 we have.
Okay. So then we can easily complete that, no issue. Let's say within next week, you have to be prepared for the presentation, right?
Okay, so because we are having some virtual members like different countries, different time zones. So if you can set a time I mean, before like 2 days or 3 days, so we can inform them and get them ready, sir.
You are ready, so then let's arrange like Wednesday, Thursday. Or you can do that.
Wouldn't be a matter, sir, if you can inform us earlier, so then we can, since we are working, we can take some arrange time off from the office. We can arrange, sir.
I didn't get it.
Depending on the since we are working, sir, even the Thursdays we are working. So is it in a work times or after the work times, sir?
After the work time, so then tell me according to your plan and the availability of your team members, let me inform a time you are available. So then I will cross check with my time. Let's say in Sri Lankan time, 8:30, 9, 11 o'clock. So then I will check with my time. If you are all are available, let me inform a common time to take that presentation. Right.
Okay, sir. If you can decide, that's better, sir. That means different times on some. Since now, some one person from our team, it's night. It's night time now. So totally, it's someone from Bahamas, one from Qatar, one from Switzerland. So different time frames, sir. If you can fix the time, so we'll get them arranged, sir.
All right. It's okay.
Yeah.
So then I will let you give some time. Like we'll take that some from Saturday, some from weekdays. I will send some time slots. So then we can arrange accordingly. If you are not available, let me know. So then I can reschedule the time frame according to your availability. Right?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right, shall we start? The long break, I guess. Yeah, discussions about reporting. Yeah. Oh, amen. The planning practice. Overstay. It's people like overstay. Correct. Again, I've been people even already done happened. Then the risk will be the order service will be finished. And you have to know. Balance sheet right, very critical topic. So, hope people who are joining going through the audible is up. We are discussing about audit reporting. That is a very important topic because we are in the tail end, latter part of the audit process. Right. So then now we are going to conclude the audit. We have done with the planning and execution, or planning and risk assessment, and execution. Execution means POC plus substantive procedures. Now we are coming to conclusion. Conclusion means reporting. In another word, issuing the audit opinion. So then what we have to do? We know that TOC results embedded to substantive procedures. Right? We don't need to, take this like a conclusion document. So then TOC results were embedded to substantive procedures. Is that a new thing? I think you are very familiar with this. So then once you are doing substantive procedures, you have came across, you went through some of the maybe limitations, mistakes, frauds, scope limitations, many issues you may identify. Right? So then differences, right? So then those differences or mistakes or whatever the identified, whatever the identified loopholes, we can divide it into two. What are they? We can divide it into two. That may be a statement. Or scope limitation. Statement or scope limitation. So we have already discussed this, right? At the initial stage, once I am discussing about audit opinion, I brought this chart and I told you. මේක මොනවද? අසලයි නෙවෙයි. මෙහෙම කොටු හතරක් හදලා අන්තිමට මේක පැහැදිලි කරනවා කිව්වා නේද? Statement, scope limitation, significant plus pervasive. Right? So then whatever the identified issues, we can categorize to misstatements, scope limitation. Misstatements can be mistakes or fraud. Right? Identified issues can be divided into two. So what are the misstatements? So then it's factual that that is a mistake. Mistakenly they have taken that may be a fraud. You can see that is a mistake, that is a fraud. It's factual. There's an issue, right? So then scope limitation. You know that, right? So we are supposed to check that they are not accommodating to such changes. So then we want to do some stock verification. They are not allowing to check that. So they have purchased two lands. They are not providing the deed of the land. We can't ensure that whether the ownership transferred to the company or not. Right? So then can we tell that it's right or wrong? We can't tell if it is a scope limitation. So these are the two challenges at the reporting stage. What are they? It may be a misstatement or scope limitation. So then it's very factual that they have done an error, mistake. That's the one end. The one end, we can't say whether it's correct or not. There's a scope limitation. There's a limitation to say that. So then, whatever the identified these areas, again can be divided into two. What are they? So then, management agree to correct. Correct. Management doesn't agree to correct. Management doesn't agree to correct. Management agree. So after notification, management agree to give this deed. Management agree to correct whatever the fraud and the mistake. They are going to pass the journal entries. Right? So then if they are agreed to pass the journal entries, if they are accommodating this unprovided information, we are satisfied, we are okay. Right? The matter is, if they don't agree to give the information, we need to adjust that to the audit report. Right? Simple. And I missed one thing. What? So the substantive procedure, this result, we have to summarize, right? Some of the results may be the one item may be very large. Some of the item will be small amounts. We have to accumulate it and we need to get the summary of impact, summary of mistakes identified. So then we can use another word, summary of audit differences, right? So at the end of audit, what's the key document we have to prepare? Summary of audit differences. That template, what it means to you. So that we identified mistakes. So whatever the doesn't agree mistakes can be divided into again to what very significant item and some small items may be there. Some small items be. We have three limits: PM, PE, and SAD. If it is below SAD, it's immaterial. We don't want to consider. If the difference in between SAD and PE, this area, we can post to the SAD summary of the differences, right? So then we have to capture what? The area management doesn't like to change, doesn't like to correct. Then we have to summarize it and calculate the impact. And based on that impact, we need to decide whether we are going to modify the opinion or change our audit opinion. Right? That's about audit reporting. That's about audit reporting. Again, I am repeating it. So that we have done. Then for each and every balances, we have completed substandard procedures. So once you are doing substandard procedures, you may face these type of not misstatements, this type of audit findings, audit issues, audit problems, right? That can be divided into scope limitations and misstatements. Misstatements can be happen as a fraud, as a mistake. Whatever the situation, management can agree to give that, provide that, correct it. If it is so, I'm okay. No need to do anything. Need to do properly, we have to document, properly we have to summarize, and that may be so the we have to include that to kind of a corrective statements list, right? Keep in mind, that's another thing. The corrective statements, so that after correcting this, put a star mark and you can say, after correcting this, you have to have a list. Why? Once you are doing the next year audit plan, you have to consider this. Why? Last year we had this much of audit findings, they have corrected. And that should be a planning, planning aspect you need to consider. So then, as a audit manager for this year, whatever the corrected statement should have a kind of a list, right? So that is not impact to this year audit opinion, but we should have a link. We should have a report, right? Why? It will be a very useful information to the next year audit. Last year, corrected statement. But it won't affect to the audit opinion. So what's the item? Impact to the audit opinion. The uncorrected misstatement. So the management doesn't like to correct. Management doesn't like to provide it. It's a pure scope limitation, pure misstatement. If it is so, that's the point we need to consider this chart. So this chart will be coming to the picture at that point. So then we have to evaluate. If it is a misstatement, whether it is significant. If it is significant, we have to qualify it. Right? That misstatement may be significant plus pervasive. Significant plus pervasive. Significant plus pervasive. What it means to you? Significant. It's significant. It will impact to their decisions. Not as a whole. It's only for some balance. Only for one area. Only for inventory. Only for receivable. Only for inventory risk. Inventory holding risk. Only for inventory, only for credit risk of the receivable. So only for that area. So then it's significant for some area only. Right? If it is so, we are going to qualify it. Except for that area, financial statements are true and fair. Qualified opinion, in other words, except opinion. Except opinion. Except opinion means, in the opinion we are saying that except for the inventory balance, the financial statement are true and fair. Right? Qualified. Because it's significant, others are okay. But this misstatement, significant as well as its impact to all the areas of the balances, right? Overall for the financial statement. If it is so, you are giving an adverse opinion. Adverse opinion. Why? It's clearly, we can say, this financial statement are not true. Not complying with the financial reporting framework. Clearly adverse opinion. So the scope limitation, only for the land purchase, only for the creditor balance, only for the one location inventory balance. They are not providing the access to us. So then it's a scope limitation. Only for one area. If it is so, it's a qualification. But they are not providing access to inventory. They are not providing the list of debtors to call confirmation. Plus, on the other hand, they are not allowing us to do the cash count. If it is so, it's a mistake, scope limitation which impact to many balances in the balance sheet. So then it's a disclaim opinion. Disclaimer means we are not going to give opinion. We are telling that because of this scope limitation which impact to the financial statement as a whole, because of that we are going to disclaim. We are not issuing audit opinion for this company. That is called disclaim opinion. Here we are not telling true or not true. Disclaimer, rejecting. Why rejecting? Audit එක කරන්න මොනවාක්වත් දෙන්නේ. දෙන්න audit කරන්න ඕනේ. අපිට adverse opinion එකක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ දෙන්නත් දෙන්නේ දන්නේ නැති දෙයක්. It's very ඔළුවට ගන්න ඕනේ. මේක නිකන් අතේ ලියාගෙන ඉන්න පේපර් එකේ කොට වැඩන්නේ. එතකොට මේක අතේ ලියන්න ගන්නකොට ඔයාලට පේපර් එකේ ලියන්න වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද case study එක telling some story, right? So then you have to evaluate whether it's qualified or adverse, qualified or disclaimed. So then I'm asking, so the two scenarios you can issue a qualified opinion. So the statement only significant qualified, scope limitation only significant qualified. If it is pervasive, disclaim. If it is adverse, if it is pervasive, statement adverse. It's very clear. By using this chart, SLA US 705, audit modification, you can issue the audit report, right? You can issue the audit report. So you can refer audit past papers, I will share. So then, like question number 405, always referring this area. So what is the suggestion you are giving, whether you are going to qualify it or not? This is the repeated question. Case study එකේ මොකද වෙන්නේ? Case study එකේ business එකයි operation එකයි case එකයි වෙනස් වෙනවා. But the knowledge fact is same. I want to test that whether you know about audit reporting or not. Right? That is about this topic. And further, once you are doing audit reporting, some audit opinion formats are there. Some modifications are there. Actually, this was in the auditing standards, right? So this classification for this is a kind of a summarization I'm giving to easy reference, right? So then, audit opinion can be non-modified, modified, non-modified, modified. Non-modified means clean opinion, no any qualification or emphasis or other method. Right? Modified can be divided into two. What are they? Modified can be divided into two. No impact to no impact to the opinion. Impact to the opinion. No impact to the opinion. No impact to the opinion. Impact to the opinion can be divided to three. What are they? Qualified, adverse, and disclaimer. Qualified can be divided into two. One, right. This was discussed under here. So then no impact to the opinion, but already modified. What are they? It may be emphasize a matter or other matter. Emphasize a matter or other matter paragraph. This is all about audit reporting. Right? මේකේ ලියා ගන්න එක හොඳයි ලියා ගන්න පුළුවන්. අකුරු තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් අහන්න. So then I will send that to the people who are listening virtually. I will send a kind of a note over this. Don't worry about the things I have written in the whiteboard. So then I will send a note. Or people who are getting a note over this, you can share to the group, right? You can take a picture and මගේ වගේ අකුරු තියෙන කෙනෙක් group එකට යවන්න එපා. ලස්සනට ලියන ළමයි ඉන්නවා. අර බැච් එකේ ඉන්නවා. අපේ කාලේ බැච් එකේ හිටියා ගායනගේ නෝට් එක, අමල්ගේ නෝට් එක. ඒකෙන් තමයි අපි පාඩම් කරන්නේ. අපි කොච්චර ලිව්වත් හරියයි. හිත හැදෙන්නේ නෝට් එක ලිව්වා. එහෙම කෙනෙක් යවන්න group එකට. So the audit opinion, non-modified, modified, right? Modified, non-modified means clean opinion, no any emphasis or other matter. No any qualified opinion, emphasize or other matter. So then modified, impact to the opinion, no impact to the opinion, right? No impact to the opinion. We can say emphasis a matter and other matter. So emphasis a matter, what it means to you? If there is something as auditor we need to emphasize, like a going concern issue or kind of a non-compliance. If you want to emphasize, you can emphasize in the audit opinion, but we are not going to qualify there's no harm to the opinion, but just emphasize. Once you are reading this financial statement, you need to consider this. There's a going concern issue, but the management has taken mitigating controls. That is an emphasis. Other matter paragraph. If you don't want to emphasize, it's a fact that we are going to put as other matter. So the last year audit was done by another auditor. It's other matter paragraph. Right? The last year audit was done by auditor, separate auditor. Emphasis the matter always related to the some kind of an account balance or disclosure. We emphasize. Once you are reading this account balance or disclosure, please consider this. That's the emphasis. But other matter is some kind of a matter. Management is going to have a kind of a turnaround plan. Also, we can have kind of other matter. It's auditor's judgment whether you are going to put other matter or not. So with the audit opinion, you are giving other matter. So it's an audit modification to the audit opinion, but no impact to the opinion. No impact to the opinion. Right? But these things will impact to the opinion. Whether it's a qualification or adverse or disclaimer. Right? You need to consider. So you can see an unmodified audit opinion, clean opinion. Our financial statement present all matter respect of you proven fairly. This is a clean opinion, right? So that this is the content of audit opinion. We have already discussed this opinion section, basics for opinion, going concern, and this is the area we need to focus. Key audit matters. CAM. That's also a key aspect we need to discuss. CAM. Key audit matters. Key audit matters. Matters mean not the issues, right? So if it is a listed company, whatever the key audit matters in audit, we have to display in the audit opinion. That's a new thing came to 701 auditing standard, right? Key audit matters. So the key audit matter means what's the matter and what's the audit response we have to give. What is the matter and the response is clearly mentioned, right? Right. Key audit matters. So the key audit matters are those matters that in auditor's professional judgment were of most significance in audit of financial statement of the current period. Key audit matters are selected from matters communicated with those charged with the government. Key audit matters. So then we'll go through some, I will share with you all whatever the example key audit matters in the audit opinion. So then you can go through what are the examples of key audit matters. Right. So then that is an area auditor can spend, auditor have to spend more time over that area. So if it is a bank impairment, right? If it is a biological asset related company, valuation of biological asset, that's a key audit area, key audit focus area. So then key audit area and the related steps should be displayed in the audit opinion. That's not a purely audit issue, right? That may be kind of a critical significant risk or kind of an unusual transaction, one-off transaction. Let's say during a period, if there's a kind of a system migration, that may be a key audit matter for that period because we are spending more time on the system migration, right? So CAM. CAM is a part of audit opinion, right? It's not audit qualification, it's not audit modification, right? It's a part of audit opinion. Here matter. Because there is a matter we discussed. Litigation claim. So the early application of nerve accounting standard, major catastrophe that has continued to have a significant effect to the company. Right? Early adoption. Company can adopt standard early. Right? If it is so, we can emphasize that. Other matter paragraph. Other matter paragraph is a matter audited based on audit judgment. We assume that this should be displayed in the audit opinion, right? Qualified opinion, adverse opinion we discussed, disclaimer opinion discussed. This is the chart I already discussed, right? This one. That's the chart. මේ විදිහටම තමයි මේක ලියලා තියෙන්නේ. මේකම ඕන මේකේ බලාගන්න. හරිම වචන තියෙනවා. Right? Qualified opinion. This was extracted from the audit opinion. Sorry, not audit opinion, auditing standard 705, right? And then another topic means once you are issuing audit opinion, you know, here we have a other area, other information. We have already discussed that. What's the responsibility about other information? What's the responsibility? Auditor responsible for financial statement opinion, right? Financial statement. With the financial statement, we are issuing the audit opinion. And you know, annual report, in annual report, other than the financial statement, we have some other set of information like director statement or financial statement ending summary or kind of a corporate governance, and different chapters are there about the financial statement. Those are under, we can call other information. Other information we are, you know, the accumulating with the financial statement. So then this other information should be in line with the audited information. Audited information වල එකක් කියනවා. Other information වල තව එකක් කියනවා. Can you compare? Can you take decision? So then the other information should be in line with audited numbers and audited information, right? So then auditor has a duty to enhance the inline this information, right? So then auditor not issuing audit opinion over that, but auditor has a responsibility to check this other information. Other information you have to check, and if there is a deviation, we have to inform to the management. With the understanding they have as auditor, the numbers mentioning in here may be different with the other information, or the understanding we took from the audit may be totally different from the understanding they have mentioned in the director statement. They have mentioned like IPO, but in the board minutes and whatever the minutes we read, there's no identification like that. There's no discussion about IPO, but director statements contain it. So we can ask, right? Likewise, you can have a proper review about other information, right? If there's a misstatement or identification about other information, you can inform to the management to correct it, right? Correct it. So that is about other information. That's about it. So that is about other. audit reporting. I think most of the things was discussed. I'm repeating this again. Why? This is important. So whatever things we discussed about audit reporting will be repeated in the next class, right? So the 18 we have, right? We have a lecture. When you are having exam? 23rd. No. 3rd. December 3rd. So then 18 we are having a lecture. So then 18 we can conclude everything. Have kind of a we have some areas, some other areas to discuss. Very minimal area like digital audit, some other engagements, audit quality. So then all things we have already discussed. We need to have kind of a brief understanding. And this one always, I will repeat this. And then you can have, again you can hear to this. Today you can have kind of a brief understanding about this. And again I am repeating this. You can have more understanding over that. Right? And the remaining audit quality and digital audit and then other related engagement. Those are very straightforward things. I can just discuss, not just discuss, you can, on that time you can learn it. So then we have already completed the audit process, we have done with it. So then rest of the things like 5%. So then you can easily discuss. So then I hope that you can ready for the exam now. So that I can share some past papers, model question papers. I can do some revision as well. So then you have to read for the exam, ready for the exam, right? That's it. That's it for today. That okay? So I can do audit quality. So those can be done next day. So then those are very minimal thing. Audit quality, firm level audit quality, engagement level audit quality. We have already discussed that. Firm level, engagement level. So then how we can enhance that? Further code how we can adhere with the code of ethics, right? And digital audit, I already discussed that. Data analytics, portfolio analysis, and portfolio based auditing, how we are going to do virtual audit, virtual stock verification. We have already discussed. So those things we can have kind of a discussion and we can conclude this. Already you can, I have provided slide deck, you can read through that. Only thing I need to discuss about some other engagement like agreed upon procedure and due diligence and what we call review engagement and prospectiveness statement. Topic wise, we'll have a kind of a discussion. That is the only thing pending we will discuss. Right. So then we can have a proper understanding of audit. So now you are ready for the exam. Right. So get the past paper, everything you can do. If there is a kind of a area doubtful, read the slide deck and have some of a series of questions. So then we can openly discuss. That's a help to me as well as to you studies. Right. Okay. So today that's it. I hope you can ready. You can do presentations. Within next week I will share that possible times to do presentation. We can conclude presentation. And tomorrow I have given the deadline to upload report. I hope that you are ready with the report and I have created the link as well. You can upload the report. So each and every member don't want to upload, the leader can upload. And that report should be very summarized one. It should be very, not theoretical, it should be practical. Right. That's the expectation. Right. I hope you are on track. There's no such a huge stress, I guess. Yes. It ආවද? Even how we are ready, they have not given like this. Side shape. We have our daily. What happened? Check with them whether they have given that sign sheet or not. I hope you all can discuss within your group, and if you have that concern, talk to me. If you can come up with questions as a group, we'll have kind of a short discussion in kind of a WhatsApp group or kind of a call or like that. I can explain if you have a difficulty, right? Again, make them all the question and one of them can say product part if you internally you can discuss that. And cannot hear a command name. You can discuss, right? If you don't have a clarification, you don't have a conclusion, then you can talk to me and we will clarify before the exam. And I don't expect the stress before the audit paper, right? It's a very practical paper. All the things discussed in the classroom will be tested in the exam. That is the uniqueness, right? All the things will be tested in the exam. और पाठन कराटे नास्ति वेन्ने बायरेंट है पाठ एक पाठन करो एक में तीनों पेपर है स्टोरी राइट मुकाबले के ना पाठ so that's all about today. I hope people who are joining virtually you are enjoying auditing and I expect your positive feedback from your group assignment and a group report. And let's do this in a very practical manner, right? Thank you very much for joining this very meet up group presentation class next week. Lecture. Thanks a lot.